My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hi everyone, hi. So, this is one of my favorite videos to film. It's the video in which I report back about how I spent my budget in the preceding month. So I'm going to tell you everything that I bought in the month of June with my budget, and I'll be able to give little mini reviews pretty much about all of these things. I always think that this is going to be a short and sweet video because it's just me listing the things that I bought and actually in this case showing them to you one by one because I have all of them here before me, I think, all but one. But I've learned my lesson over the past 5 months. It always ends up being quite a long video because I always go on at length about each item. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. At the beginning of the month, I had to replace 3 things. So the first thing that happened in the month in terms of me buying stuff was that I made a number of practical purchases. As you know, if you've watched my introduction video about this project, or if you've been following me and listening to me for any number of months, I have to use my budget when I replace necessities. It's not just for treats. So the 3 things that I needed to replace were my brow tint kit, the dye that I use to dye my brows at home, my toothpaste, and my vitamin C serum. So I'll go through them in that order. This is the brow tint kit that I use. It's from Godefroy, and I do have, hold your comments, I do already have a video about how I dye my brows at home. I'll put it in the cards right now. So if you're curious about how I do it, you can watch that video, and I do it with this tint kit in that video so you can see me using it. However, they've changed, I think, the formula. They've changed something about it. It feels very different. The developer that they sent in this kit is much more liquidy. I feel like the one that I purchased before was called Brow Tint Kit, and this one is called Tint Kit for Spot Coloring. So maybe they're 2 different products, but I couldn't find the Brow Tint Kit anywhere. And then when I read the reviews of this one on Amazon, they were all about people coloring their brows. So I felt like they had just rebranded it as something that's multi-purpose, but then they also changed the formula. So I actually am a little disappointed because I liked the old formula better. It comes with, this box comes with the developer in it, the little pills of powder that are the dye. So when you do it, you split open a pill and you put it into a little bowl, and then you put some developer in and you mix it together and you let it develop. And it also comes with a little angle brush, which I find very useful. That's what I use when I dye my brows. So it's fine, but I felt like the old formula was a little bit easier to use because it made a thicker paste. This one makes something a bit more liquidy, so in some ways it's a little easier to paint on and maybe a little easier to control, but I feel like it's a little bit less easy to get like a thick, stable application that I can leave on for a while. And then maybe it's my imagination, but I kind of feel like the dye fades a little bit more quickly with this new formulation. So it's not a problem enough that I would like try to find something else or send it back. It's not like that. I just felt a little pang of disappointment, and I wanted to let you guys know because I get a lot of questions about what I use to dye my brows. This is what I'm currently using, and I don't recommend it as wholeheartedly as I formerly did. So that was $14.97 of my budget. Then it came time to replace my toothpaste. I have been using the Lush Toothy tabs for a long time. And actually during my no-buy year, I had a foray into toothpaste because I didn't feel like ordering the Lush Toothy tabs from Lush as my one replacement just by themselves because I wasn't allowed to buy anything else at that time, and I would have had to pay so much shipping just for that one product, and I didn't feel like going to the mall because it was my no-buy year. So I got a tube of toothpaste last year. It was the cinnamon flavored Dr. Bronner's, and you may remember by the end I hated it. I think it was partly the cinnamon thing, and it was that it lasted so long. I don't even know. By the end, I was just like, never again. And I went back to the Lush Toothy tabs. So I've been repurchasing those Toothy tabs. What they are, actually, I have the bottle in my empties and there are a few left in it. So I'll show it to you right now. So it's a little bottle like this, and they are like little candies, but they're a tooth cleaning candy like tablet. So you put it in your mouth, you start chewing it up, it foams, and you brush your teeth with it. And you know, it's not candy, it's toothbrushing stuff. I suddenly just went off of them. So there are 4 left in here. There are a lot in a jar. They don't last as long as a tube of toothpaste because it's a finite number of times you can wash your teeth, and it's the number of tabs that are in the jar. But they do last, I think, a couple months. I remember, long enough for it not to feel too indulgent to buy one of these bottles instead of a tube of toothpaste. But I got down to the bottom of this and I just hit a wall where I was like, I really, really don't want to put one of those in my mouth. How if you eat, you can like really, really love something and be really into eating it, and then you like buy it a lot and eat it a lot, and then sometimes what happens is you eat it so much that you kind of overdo it and you suddenly can't eat it anymore, even though for months it's been the only thing you wanted to eat. I don't know if that ever happens to you, but that kind of happened to me with this. They're charcoal. They're a charcoal and chili flavored toothpaste. It's a bit intense, it's a bit unusual, and I loved them. I've gone through several bottles of the Boom flavored Toothy tabs in particular, and I got down towards the bottom of this bottle and I was just like, no more. And I wanted to stop using them so badly that I went ahead and ordered a tube of toothpaste to replace them. And as soon as it came, I stopped using these, and I actually think I'm not going to use these guys up. I think that's it. So that was a little preview of my empties video for you, but let me show you the toothpaste that I purchased. So this is it. And I didn't spend very long deciding which toothpaste to get. I decided that I should just bite the bullet and get over my general aversion to mint, because almost all toothpaste is mint. I didn't feel like buying a kid's toothpaste. I just didn't feel like having a kid's toothpaste in my bathroom. I care more about the aesthetics of my toothpaste than I do about the fact that mint isn't my favorite. That's the honest truth. So I vaguely was like, I think I probably want something whitening. That'd be nice. And so I just searched for whitening toothpaste. This was one of the ones that came up, and I was like, that is the one I'm getting because it's drop dead gorgeous. I completely purchased this for aesthetic reasons. I'm so gratified to be able to have toothpaste, which is a necessity that usually is a blight on the landscape of a beautiful bathroom, because all tubes of toothpaste look extremely medicinal and pedestrian and just aren't really well designed. But this one is. It's the Lionheart toothpaste, and it's great. I have no complaints. I don't really know that much about it. I didn't do a lot of intense research. It's a fluoride toothpaste. It claims to be whitening. It had excellent reviews. And the mint flavor is very, very, very mild. I have had absolutely no aversion to it. I've taken pleasure in using this every single time because the toothpaste itself is perfectly nice, and the tube itself is, come on, this is aesthetic AF. And then the third thing that I needed to replace at the beginning of this month was my vitamin C serum. I had been using the one from Timeless. I love it. I love that vitamin C serum from Timeless. I kept it in the fridge. I used 8 drops a day, and it lasted me almost 6 months. I guess it lasted me 5 months. Well, I can't remember when I purchased it. I can't remember if it was in the beginning. Was it during my no-buy year? I think it was about 6 months that it lasted me, 5 or 6. And I did calculate when I purchased it that 8 drops at a time, once a day, 8 drops 8 drops once a day for an application should stretch for almost half the year. And that was based on bottles of the same size with the same type of viscosity and how long they had lasted me when I was using something like 4 drops or 16 drops. I just have a general sense of what a 1 ounce serum will last me, and if I use 8 drops a day versus 4 drops a day, et cetera, because I've been kind of counting and keeping track and adding up the cost per use of the various things I've been using for, like 6 or 7 months now. It's just something I started paying attention to during my no-buy year. So in spite of the fact that I loved the one from Timeless so much, and the price was right, and it lasted a really long time, and it was excellent, I decided to try the May Love Glow Maker, because when I was looking for a new vitamin C serum, I pretty much got equal recommendations. The Glow Maker is a little bit more expensive. It ended up costing me $29.98, so $30 to acquire this, whereas I think when I purchased the one from Timeless, it added up to something like $22 or $23, and I think I had free shipping and some sort of code. I can't remember, but you know, it's a $7 or $8 difference, which if you're using the product over the course of almost half a year, isn't that much of a difference. So it wouldn't be prohibitive to me. If I liked this one better, I would continue on with this one. However, I am already ready to report that I like the Timeless one better. This is really nice, and if you have sensitive skin or you want something that feels a little more luxury, then I recommend the Glow Maker. It feels a little bit more luxury in every way. It's not just the packaging, which is very chic and contemporary, but it's also the application, the way it feels going on, the way it smells and looks. It's just a little bit more serum-y, a little bit more nourishing feeling, whereas the one from Timeless to me feels like a straight, powerful vitamin C treatment, and that's what I want. So I'm going to purchase the Timeless one when I'm done with this one. And in fact, I've kind of been overusing this one because I don't feel like meeting it out in the way that I did with the one from Timeless. I kind of am fine with using it up rather quickly and paying for vitamin C serum again to get the one from Timeless back. So I've been using it actually morning and night, which is fine. You are allowed to use it morning and night. It says that you can, and I'm sure it's good for the skin. I just tend to try to space out my use of my skincare products so that I don't use them up really quickly. But with this one, I'm not invested in not using it up quickly, so I've been using it morning and night, which is good. It's been nice. I do like it. I do take pleasure in using it. I do think that it is keeping my skin bright and affecting my skin in the way that I want a vitamin C serum to. I actually do think it's really great. And if I hadn't tried the one from Timeless, I would be recommending it wholeheartedly. And I actually do recommend it wholeheartedly. I actually think between those two, kind of the two leading, well-priced, well-formulated, powerful vitamin C serums on the market, the May Love and the Timeless, I think it's probably a matter of personal preference. And I could totally see many reasonable and skincare loving people preferring this one. I just prefer the other one. So those are my 3 replacements at the beginning of the month. And as I talked about during my check-in, I then pretty much went for a long time without buying anything. Although, you know what? That's not quite right. I purchased these 3 things right at the beginning of the month, and then I had one other shopping trip, and I bought 2 things on that shopping trip, and then I went for a really long time without buying anything else. So the reason for that shopping trip, the reason that I went out to kind of a mall type area in downtown LA towards the beginning of the month, was to buy another sports bra, because I only had one. I had only retained one sports bra in my closet declutter, because when I decluttered my closet, I just wasn't working out very much, and the workouts that I was doing were not very high impact. But I've started working out more, and I've started doing more high impact workouts, and I definitely needed at least one more sports bra. I probably still need another 1 or 2, but I wanted to start just with getting one more so that I could have 2, and then I don't have to, constantly do laundry or constantly wear a dirty sports bra, which is what was happening before I went out and got another one. So I went to Nordstrom Rack and I purchased a Marika sports bra, which is, I think, one of Nordstrom Rack's house lines of sportswear, and it was $12. So while I was there, I was poking around, and I wasn't really intending to buy anything else, but I still enjoy being in a shopping environment and just seeing what I see. So I tried on some things, and as I was poking around, I came across a pair of sweatpants by the brand All Saints. 2 things crossed my mind when I discovered this pair of All Saints sweatpants in the Nordstrom Rack. One is that something that's been on my private wish list for a really long time, like the whole year, something that I've been thinking I would be willing to drop a chunk of my budget on, is a pair of more luxury sweatpants, like a really, really nice pair. I have one pair of sweatpants that I'm actually wearing right now that I often wear to film and wear around the house. And they are an old ratty pair of men's sweatpants from H&M. They're probably about 5 years old. And I find them very comfortable, and they're casual and they're easy and they're perfectly fine, but they're definitely not sharp. They're like my loungewear. They're not a fashion sweatpant, and I don't necessarily feel that cute in them around the house, and it's a rare day on which I wear them out. So I've really been wanting a pair of sweatpants that I can lounge around the house in, but that makes me feel a little cuter while I'm doing it, and that I can also wear out and wear to work and wear to grocery shopping and feel like I'm in kind of a chic sweatpant. I want a pair of sweatpants that I can dress up or down, if that makes sense. So I pulled these off of the rack and I was just like, I love All Saints. I really love that brand. So I was just like, oh my goodness, All Saints sweatpants at Nordstrom Rack. And they were really high-waisted. Very unusual for a sweatpant, and I love a high-waisted pant. They checked all the boxes, but then I looked at the price tag and they were like $65 or something. And I was, even if they were my dream sweatpants, I was not going to spend $65 of my budget on luxury sweatpants. I tried them on anyway because I just am a glutton for punishment. Or maybe I had a secret suspicion that maybe it would all come out well in the end. I tried them on anyway, and they were so perfect that I was in the dressing room feeling sad that I knew that I wasn't going to spend the money, and I decided to look them up online to see if Nordstrom Rack or if anywhere else carried them, maybe in another colorway that had been marked down further. The ones I had on were a light gray. So I looked them up online, and on the Nordstrom Rack website, all of the colors had been marked down to $17. And so I went out of the dressing room and I went to the attendant and I was like, these are for sale online, much lower. Do you guys honor like the online price? And she was like, oh yeah, we totally do. So she scanned them in and she changed the tag, and I was able to purchase the sweatpants of my dreams for $17. I'm sure they won't look very attractive. Like, yeah, they just look like disgusting old gray sweats on camera, I'm sure, but this is what they look like. They're just kind of regular, but you can see they're like magnificently high-waisted. I mean, they really come all the way up to my natural waist, and I am about that life 100%. So that was the beginning of the month. The 3 replacement items, the sports bra, and the glorious $17 sweatpants. And then I sort of took a break. If you haven't seen my check-in, I recommend watching it for reference for this video, because I talked pretty extensively in that video about how I just kind of didn't feel like spending my budget. And then I talked about how when I did start spending it again towards the end of the month, it happened with sort of this casual and easy undertone. Like I just happened to be somewhere, happened to be walking by, happened to find a thing I liked, had the money in my budget for it, and decided to buy it. It was a very non-obsessive and stress-free way of shopping. And it was kind of like that at the beginning of the month too, actually. I went to Nordstrom Rack because I needed a sports bra. I felt really lucky that I found those pants. I felt really lucky that they were so deeply discounted, and it just felt easy. It's been probably the month in which I've had the healthiest relationship with shopping so far. Maybe still not as healthy as I would like. I mean, I actually do think there is somewhere to go from here. I still think that I spend too much time thinking about it, but it's definitely, strides have been made, and I've kind of felt feelings when I've shopped that are new. So that's been kind of cool. But yeah, watch the check-in if you haven't watched it, because I think I did a better job of explaining it there. So in the check-in, I talked about buying Maybelline Raw Chocolate. And while I was in the store buying Maybelline Raw Chocolate, I looked at many of the other lipsticks and I couldn't stop thinking about Maybelline Gone Greige. That is what this is called. So I ended up going back within the next couple of days and buying this one as well. And it's, at some point along the way, we picked up like a $5 off coupon for CVS. So one of the, I think it was the second one that I purchased, ended up being discounted by $5. So even though these are usually something like $8.99 each or $8.50 each, together they ended up only costing $13. So that was pretty amazing. That makes them $6.50 each when you break it down. And the formulas, you guys, the formulas, I just am so impressed. And maybe I just haven't been around enough at the drugstore. I haven't wanted to go out on the limb to experiment with a bunch of different drugstore lipstick formulas. This is the only one with which I'm really familiar. But the matte formula, which is what raw chocolate is in, I like Beige Babe, the one I've had since the beginning of the year, but I feel like this one is also what I'm wearing today, actually. And I did film this whole look. I'm sure it's not up yet, but it's coming. So if you're curious, I did film this. It's the same formula, presumably, the matte formula, but it's even creamier and easier to wear than Beige Babe. It's like the dream matte formula to me. I really, really love it. And then Gone Greige is not the matte formula, it's the bold audacious, and it's also pretty matte though. I mean, it seems matte to me. They seem kind of like the same formula, but it's also very nourishing, easy to wear. I'm in love with both of these lipsticks, and I couldn't be more glad that I decided to buy both of them with part of my budget this month. And then I had two other casual and not very stressful shopping experiences towards the end of the month. One I already talked about in my check-in. I purchased two tops at COS, and I've worn both of them already in videos. So this is one, it's just sort of a vest-shaped cotton cocoon top. Very easy, very androgynous, very me, and perfect for hot weather. And then this is the other one. It looks kind of like a sweater, but it's a little bit more like a heavyweight t-shirt. And I like that it's got this wide bodice and then the sort of skinny sleeves. And the sleeves are a little bit 3/4. It's like a very, very, very basic, but there's something about the cut that is slightly exaggerated proportionally in every direction that makes it feel more chic than just a normal heavyweight tee. So I'm really pleased with both of these purchases. They were both pretty effortless and casual. They were both on sale. The total at COS came to $47 for these two together. I think they were both 50% off. And I've worn both of them multiple times since making that purchase last week. I've been wearing one or the other of them like every day. And to me, that's a sign that it was a really good buy, because it's not just that I like them stylistically, it's that they fit well with my lifestyle. And I think that's an important distinction to make. So I'm really glad that I purchased those. And then the last thing that I purchased seems kind of intense, but I actually do think it was a really smart buy for me. It's this pair of faux leather culotte pants. They're like short, they come to just below my knees. And they are from Zara, but I got them on Poshmark. And the reason that I felt confident buying pants, of all things, from an online seller, an online reseller, is that I have a pair of faux leather culottes, not culottes, mine are more straight pants, my other pair, but they're from Zara and they're from the same season, like 3 years ago in the winter. And so I knew that the waistband of my burgundy ones, which are a size medium, would likely have the same fit and the same sort of dimensions as the waistband of this pair, which is also a size medium. I knew that the faux leather was something that I like because I already have a pair and they're just, they're from the same line. So why did I even decide to look for faux leather pants from Zara online? I think it's just because I love the ones that I have so much, but they're a little bit formal looking. They really look like a trouser, and I had been wearing them a lot and enjoying them a lot, and I had kind of been wishing that I had a slightly more casual silhouette in the same idea of pant. And that is what these are. They're just a little bit more of a fun, maybe a little more of a chic silhouette and a little bit less of like a menswear silhouette. I love a faux leather pant. I feel like there's almost nothing that elevates an outfit in the way that a faux leather pant elevates an outfit. So I snagged these on Poshmark for $25, and I am really glad that I got them. I have only worn them once since I got them. I think they're going to be more of like a dress to impress type of moment thing rather than like a wear every day. But I felt like that when I purchased the burgundy pair 3 or 4 years ago, and I've gotten so much wear out of those pants. They are like a go-to pant for me, and I think that these will grow into that role as well. So I ended up buying kind of a lot of clothes this month, which I'm not too surprised about because the seasons are changing. And as I sit with and live more with my decluttered wardrobe, I feel like I start to see where the holes are. And as I sit with my budget and I get comfortable with a more casual relationship with shopping, I think I'm getting better at filling those holes in a way that's wise and not stressful and doesn't take up too much brain space. So I ended up getting the sports bra, the sweatpants, the faux leather pants, and the 2 tops. So that's 5 items of clothing. Quite a lot. I think the most clothing items that I purchased in 1 month since the beginning of the year. And it ate up quite a lot of my budget. I think that clothes amounted to something around $90 of my budget, which is a lot of money all at once, but not really a lot for 5 different very necessary pieces, or 5 different kind of staple items. So I think it worked out pretty well. And then makeup, it was only $13 this month, the 2 lipsticks, and those necessities that I purchased at the beginning of the month added up to about $55 all told, the 3 staples that I replaced at the beginning of the month. So I ended up spending $167.49 this month. I had started out with a budget of $215.82. $15.82 had rolled over from the month before, and I ended up with a $48.35 surplus going into July. I'm starting to think really a lot about the number of things that I'm buying in addition to how much they're costing. And it's funny because part of me is really excited that I managed to get 5 staple items of clothing for the $90. But another part of me was really excited last month when I purchased 1 pair of beautiful linen pants for $90. And I want to lean more towards quality over quantity. And I think that these 5 things that I purchased this month are all very, very high quality. So it's not like I was sacrificing quality for quantity because I spent the time to seek them out and find them at a discounted price. I think that I want, though, to lean more into, well, no, so it's not leaning more into quality because, again, like I'm already leaning into quality. I leaned into quality and quantity this month. I think that the trick is leaning away from quantity in a more mindful way. And that might mean actually seeking to buy things that are going to take up more of my budget, if that makes sense, in order to be happy with buying fewer things, fewer nicer things. Because this was a great month in terms of my budget. I didn't spend the whole thing. I had a quarter of my budget left at the end of the month. I feel happy about absolutely everything I got. I feel like I got great prices on all the things. It was great in every way, except for the fact that I brought 10 new things into my life. And I'm not sure that I really want 10 new things, even though I want each of these things individually. So it's just something to think about. I'm not scolding myself. I'm not disappointed in myself. I feel myself wanting to be disappointed in myself, but I'm trying to do better at not punishing myself internally for little things like this, like stressing over whether it should be a different way. It's like, no, my rules are that I have a budget and then I'm sticking to my budget. I didn't break my rules. Everything's fine. So I'm not going to let myself be mad at myself or be disappointed. I'm just starting to pay attention to this quality over quantity question and think about what kind of thinking it might involve to kind of move forward from here, to evolve from here. I think that it might be interesting to make a point of buying 1 or 2 more expensive things that eat up my budget, so then I can't go nickel and diming the rest of it away and buying 5 more pieces of clothing for $90 again, if that makes sense. So I might or I might not play around with that next month. We will see. But for now, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you're remembering to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.